What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Investing Bros live show. We've got a great one lined up for you today. Bitcoin is rallying. Crypto is rallying. We are close to $60,000 once again, but that's not even the biggest stories of the day. We're going to go even deeper into the XRP news that happened a little less than 24 hours ago. What does that mean not only for Ripple and XRP, but the rest of the crypto space as a whole? We'll dive into that, but there's an altcoin right now about to be listed on Binance. It could be massive. And the real question people are going to start asking once again, we forecasted here on the channel that alt season, if the 4-year cycle continues to hold up, really should not happen until December of 2024. But are we seeing certain moves that would imply the altcoin season could happen sooner than expected? You got to watch the entire show to find out the answer. Smash the like, hit subscribe, and we've got to roll our in.
How we doing?
What is going on, T-Shroom? Back in the same spot. It's good to see you in the same place 2 days in a row. Internet doing well?
Oh yeah, doing really great. And Tim, I've got some good news for the bros. My internet at my house has been fixed, but I was here at Plan B. And because there was no guarantee that the internet was going to be fixed, but it has been fixed. And Tim, I can be consistent in saying that I am better than I deserve. How are you doing today?
I was going to say that was my next question. So how are you doing? I'm doing well. Okay, staying very, very busy today, but it's been good watching the markets. As I tell everybody all the time, I'm a big fan of when you look at your portfolios, try hard not to get emotionally too excited or too frustrated with the dollar amounts.
Right.
But I'm not going to lie to you and say it's not nice to go look at your portfolio and see a little extra cash in the dollar amount section. That being said, I'm still very excited about that. I will talk about in the show today, as we get into Bitcoin topics here in a couple of minutes, I will tell you what is the level that I'm looking at to be confirmed bullish. I'm excited about current price action, but anyone who thinks that Bitcoin and altcoins are out of the woods on the dip, I'm not trying to promote any FUD. I don't want to scare you, but I want to make sure I'm bringing you the information you need to know. And at the moment, while the bulls are on a little bit of a run, they're not necessarily in control. What price do we need to see to confirm they're back in control? We'll talk about that here in just a couple of minutes. T-Shroom, anything from you before we dive into kind of getting into the details of what the market's doing, getting into the charts? Anything from you?
Well, this big XRP story, we're going to get into it. I was surprised the timing of it. It's really interesting.
Yeah.
And, it's been bullish for XRP holders. Those who've been the loyal to XRP have been rewarded.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I made a video this morning. Make sure after this is over, go watch my morning video on XRP. But we'll discuss it and dissect a little bit of what's happening. Because the biggest thing about it is whether or not you care about XRP or not, whether or not you hold it, that's irrelevant. News has a major impact on your altcoins that you hold. And we're going to break that down for you. Let's go ahead and take a look at this beautiful bubble chart here, T-Shroom. Now, I want to start off by saying, I'm scanning this. I see off the top 2 coins in the red in the last 24 hours. Let's start with them. One of them, Fast token, not so fast today. It's in the red. Aave is also down 2.3%. But with the exception of those two, I'm seeing a sea of green, and I love to see it. Biggest gainer, as we talked about, is XRP, up 25% today. Now, I will let you know, we're talking about the last 24 hours. Moves here. Yesterday, it did 20% within a couple of minutes. So it's not that anything special since yesterday, but still is the biggest gainer over the last 24 hours. Coming, it looks like in second place, Sui, up 18.4%. One of the newer layer 1 coins. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. This is a coin that we have not put into any of our bros portfolios as our recommendation. That being said, I want you to know, even though I do not personally own it, T-Shroom doesn't personally own it, at least I don't think he does. That doesn't mean I think it's a terrible investment. It's just not going to crack into some top coins that we own, but it's doing very well for anyone who did select that coin before. Ondo's doing pretty well today, up 11%. HNT16, Brett up 15%. So we got the meme kind of coming back up here as well. As a whole here, if I'm going to go through everything that is up today, it's going to take me a long little bit, but let's go ahead and jump into the charts and see what is happening. We got some pretty big bullish moves happening on Bitcoin, and I want to make sure people understand Almost all the time, Bitcoin is the main mover. Why do we cover Bitcoin every single day? Why do we start off? Because at the moment, it is still the lead dog in crypto. Go off my screen here for a second, T-Shroom, and we'll come back. I want to make sure you guys understand. Oh, there's a little button right there. I want to make sure you guys understand the concept of Bitcoin and the rest of crypto space. Imagine like when you walk a dog, and specifically, not a very well-trained dog, maybe a brand new puppy. For anyone who's a dog lover, I absolutely love dogs. I know T-Shroom does as well. But I've trained me a couple of dogs, and without fail, puppies, they have no discipline. But when you take them on a walk and you're attached to a leash, sometimes they might walk right beside you and you're taking step for step together. A lot of times they like to run out in front, but ultimately you're holding the leash. You still dictate the long-term pace you're setting. Sometimes they get tired and they fall a little behind. Why am I telling you this scenario? Because this ultimately is how crypto works when it comes to Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the leader, meaning it will decide, are we bullish right now? Are we bearish right now? Sometimes altcoins can take a big leap out ahead and run ahead. Sometimes altcoins drag a little bit behind. Sometimes altcoins follow Bitcoin step for step. But just like the example with the puppy, Bitcoin is the decision maker. So anyone asking the question, when should I be buying the altcoins? When should I be doing this? When is it time to sell? Well, while you do need to look at coins individually, and we do that on the channel, one of the best indicators of when to buy and when to sell altcoins is to watch what's happening in Bitcoin. So that's why we start with it every single day. For any of our new viewers who always wondered, why do we go so heavy in Bitcoin? That's why. We care about the altcoins. We invest heavily in altcoins, but we understand Bitcoin is the leader. Let's go back to my chart here, T-Shroom, and take a look at what is happening. Now, I put over in our trading group this morning, guys, keep an eye around 59.2 as potential resistance. Why? Because not only was this inside of our 1 hour take profit on Lux Algo, it also is the top range of a rising channel that Bitcoin is in. And I want to make sure you guys understand, sometimes these formations, in fact, more often than not, when you have higher highs and higher lows in a rising channel formation, that more often than not ends up breaking to the downside. But there are occasions where it doesn't do that and it actually goes bullish. And that's what we're kind of in the system of watching right now. We're flirting with the concept on Bitcoin of breaking the resistance rather than falling deep down below the support levels. This could be bullish. It's going to continue to make us speculate that while we are seeing something very impressive on the bounce and it could continue, we still need to keep our eyes on what above us is going to keep us down. What we're working on right now is the 4 hour chart. You're going to see that blue X on the 4 hour chart. It's also running right into the 4 hour take profit and the 4 hour smart trail that is flattening over. We're going to have to watch as this works. If we were to break above it, that would be bullish. The only problem is right now, we are starting to see some of the smaller time frames get, I'm not going to say dramatically overbought, but definitely sitting on the upside of a lot of the oscillators and seeing some short-term resistance on the 4 hour, that blue X. On the 1 hour, you're going to see the oscillators starting to move to the downside. And in fact, this is actually a small sell order on the 1 hour, meaning there probably will be a pullback in price. We got a red reversal. We have bearish momentum, and that is negative money flow. Where would we pull back down to? Well, as I come back down and look at the chart, we have a nice bullish breaker block with a rising level of a smart trail coming in here around 57.5, give or take. So we're at a decision point right now. Do we want to continue to respect these hour and 4 hour long resistance level, or are the bulls going to make a big move and break back to the upside? What I'm telling you right now are the two possibilities. We are sitting on resistance, so it is short-term decision time for Bitcoin in the crypto markets. I'm not going to be surprised if we do move to the downside based off of what we're seeing on the oscillators, but I want to make sure you guys understand the possibilities here. This is a decision point. If you were in a long position this morning, I absolutely recommend taking profit and waiting for that next move. That's my advice to my traders, not my long-term holders. If you're a long-term holder, continue to hold. Look for potential. Be happy if we get a pullback, and that means you get to load up your bags with even more. But let's answer the question here, T-Shroom. Before we get into stories, we're going to come back and look at some altcoins later on. Like we said, there's one altcoin with some massive news today, as it has plans to be listed on Binance very, very soon. Drop your thoughts in the comment section right now. We're going to save that one, though. But the question a lot of people are asking is, Tim, yes, this bounce looks good. There's no reason to say that that could have been the bottom when we pulled back down here towards 49,000. But What is the level we're watching right now to feel confident about the longer term uptrend, to be confident we're going to see higher highs coming in soon? To do that, I want to take a look at the Bollinger Bands. Now, I'm not really paying attention at the moment to the blue lines up and down where we see increased volatility right now. The main thing I want to focus on is the orange line in the middle. That is the 20 SMA. And you guys can see through this history of price action, a lot of times that level can dictate the long-term bullish or bearish phase that's coming. It can work as resistance. It can work as support. This is a key decision maker that will tell us when the markets are either bullish and bearish. And we've been kind of flirting back and forth with it on the daily chart here for a while, but you'll see that price is coming in. Now it's a little bit lower towards 64, give or take, just around 64,000. But 65,000 is going to be a very interesting level because it's not just that we want to somewhat break it. We want to start getting some serious move above it. But it's not just the daily chart. Pay attention to the daily SMA, meaning for the last 20 days, the average price is still sitting at 63.5. We need to get above that. But when you go out to the weekly chart, you're going to find that the 20 weekly SMA is sitting at a very similar level, just south of 65,000. So what is my overall point right here? The bounce that Bitcoin is in at the moment is encouraging. Getting above 60,000 would be amazing. Even if we want to get back above 63 because that would fill up our CME gap at the moment. All these things would be very bullish for Bitcoin to do. But at the moment, you cannot flip into long-term bullish mode with confidence until the weekly and daily 20 SMAs are reconquered. And to do that healthily, we're talking about $65,000. So let's just go ahead and put a vertical line right there, right above it. I know the line's a little bit lower than that, but we're going to go with 65. That is the key level. When 65,000 is broken, the bullish momentum will skyrocket. You're going to notice in history, when that 20 is broken, a lot of times you do see bigger moves to the upside. A little bit of a fake out back here in July, but historically, that 20 weekly SMA being broken is a major bullish indicator for the long-term bull market. That's our level to go full-blown Bitcoin bulls. With that said, hopefully that helps you guys. Let's get into some stories here today. T-Shirt, let's start off with Bitcoin, but we're going to transition into altcoins. We're going to do some charts here later in the show. We're going to do some Q&A. We're going to explore that question. Could the altcoin season be about to happen a lot sooner than people are expecting? But let's get into those news. T-Shirt, what do you got for us today?
Yeah, absolutely. The first one is very pro-Bitcoin. One of the biggest buyers of Bitcoin is buying more Bitcoin. So it's pretty exciting. Big breaking news, BlackRock is buying the dip. BlackRock bought just under 900 Bitcoin today. So either it was today or it's being reported from a purchase yesterday. But either way, this is a big indicator that perhaps we have seen the bottom in this dip. And something we definitely know to be true, which is that the big boys, the whales, they always want to buy low, and that is what we've seen here. Tim and I have been very fortunate. I know we've been talking in the Discord quite a bit about how we've been purchasing down at the bottom. Are we whales? We are far from whales, but we do try to use the analogy of the sucker fish and the whale. We try to go along with what the whales do, and it's definitely been whale feeding season. So, Tim, what do you think about BlackRock's purchase here?
Yeah, we tell people this all the time. Make sure when you're paying attention to large players in the field, what they say is helpful and nice, but you want to pay way more attention to what they do rather than what they say. Now, I don't think that Larry Fink and BlackRock are the type that with their personal mouths, they're going to try to throw you off the scent, because that doesn't mean anything. Realize BlackRock owns a large majority of mainstream media, or they have investments in mainstream media all over the place. When you see articles with heavy opinion pieces, especially being put out there to try to sway the average investor to be either bullish or bearish, do not mistake it. BlackRock has a hand in that. But that their wallets are purchasing, they can't lie about that. They can't fake that. That is one of the things that Arkham has done. You can love Arkham, you can hate Arkham. I'm mixed on what I feel about what Arkham does. However, it is a nice thing to see that Arkham has made wallets very clear to see when people are buying, when they're selling. And that's exactly what you want to look at to know what you should be doing. If BlackRock is buying, that's what they're doing right now, that should be a sign that you should be doing it or should have been doing it as well. If we start to see those wallets start to drain, even if everything's very bullish, Pay attention to what they do, not what they say. That is the ultimate strategy when it comes to investing. And that's things that blockchain technology actually makes very easy for us with public wallets. It's easy to see who's buying, who's selling, and act accordingly.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you put a video out on it today, and it was a banger of a video. I encourage you all to go check out the video on Investing Bros that goes much more in depth than we'll have time to go in today. But if you go to our channel, which you're already on, just go to the videos section, and you'll see Tim's full analysis here of the XRP versus SEC lawsuit. But here it is. The headline for Watcher.Guru is Judge orders Ripple to pay $125 million in civil penalties, officially ending the SEC's lawsuit and concluding that XRP is not a security. That is the huge takeaway there. Tim, how big is this? We'll talk about the fee in and of itself. I'll just go ahead and say it seems like a slap on the wrist compared to what they've had to pay their lawyers.
They've paid their lawyers billions. It's been 4 years. 4 years of this legal battle. They have spent probably at least $1 billion or more.
Absolutely. So to crypto investors, even in XRP, right? I would not be worried about this penalty. This penalty is a drop in the water. For a company as big as Ripple Labs, and it's also a drop in the water of how much they've paid already in legal fees. But this is the very important part. Tim, how big is this that XRP has been declared not a security, not just on the retail side now, but also on the institutional side?
Well, this is huge. This is huge not only for XRP, it's huge for the altcoin space as a whole, because now, even though we've seen the SEC giving up on lawsuits, meaning they're resigning from going after certain coins, going after certain lawsuits, none of those go into the precedence category. What I mean by that is, let's just pretend 2 years from now, the SEC decides, you know what? Let's go back at it. Let's go back and attack altcoins and accuse them of being securities. Right now, they've withdrawn their accusations, but they could always come back and say, nope, that's it. Cardano, you're a security. Solana, you're a security. AVAX, you're a security. And we'd start another long legal battle. Withdrawing their lawsuits doesn't fix that. Losing their lawsuit and having a judge rule in saying that XRP is not a security, now we have a precedence that will protect the rest of the altcoin space from future lawsuits with the SEC. That's a major win. But I want to make sure people understand the details, and I do cover it in the morning video. I'll cover a little bit of it here, but for a deeper explanation, make sure to watch this morning's video. It is a good one. Ultimately, why is XRP not just exploding in price action right now like it did last year when we thought everything ended back last July? The reason why is because while technically the judge has closed the ruling, it has now been said, all right, XRP is not a security, but Ripple did violate securities laws in offering XRP to institutions. The SEC wanted $2 billion paid in a fine, $125 million, obviously a whole lot less than $2 billion. That's the win for Ripple. But there's not a complete win here. Ripple still has to check in there if they still want to go about offering their tokens to institutions. The way the judge ruled is actually because they did deem that part of it a security breach, they will still have to run things by the regulation of the SEC to do so in the future. What does this mean? Well, it means that while the judge is finished, and if no one does anything from here on out, we no longer have to worry about this story. Theoretically speaking, we still have 60 days for either the SEC or Ripple to try to appeal the decision. And I think the market's smart. They know that. Why are we not exploding in price right now on XRP? Yeah, we had a nice 20% jump, but not anything close to the 100% jump we saw last year. It's because people are very aware, while it's over right now, it could be reopened. But I'll tell you this. I really highly doubt the SEC appeals because, yes, they didn't get as much money as they wanted, but they do not want to be seen as the bad guys anymore against crypto. Why? Because it's not a well-kept secret that Gary Gensler is going to be on the side of Kamala Harris. He has a potential role in her cabinet to maybe be Secretary Treasury. Well, what is Kamala doing right now? She's trying to come out as a pro-crypto candidate. Whether or not crypto people are buying that or not, that is what is happening. And so for her to be allied with Gary Gensler, which is what we believe is happening, and him to continue to mount a war against crypto, would not serve her interest in trying to be elected. Therefore, we are watching Gary Gensler and the SEC back down from all of their crypto attacks because they want to see Kamala Harris elected. That being said, I do see a case in which Ripple appeals this case because even though they had that fine taken way down and they love that detail, they don't want to have to deal with the SEC. They don't want to have to continue to run to Gary or whoever the chairman of the SEC is to get permission on how they're going to be handling their coins with institutions in the future. At the moment, while Garlinghouse, the CEO of Ripple, said that he respects the judge's decision and is happy with it, he did not comment on that detail. And so I'm going to go ahead and put this in a category of I think it's likely, higher than 50% chance that no appeal happens and that what was decided yesterday was the last bit of the story. But I'm going to give it maybe a 35 to 40% chance that Ripple actually says, you know what, we want to appeal to that ruling. We don't want to have to deal with the SEC anymore in the future. We're going to watch over the next 60 days to see if that happens. The other thing you do need to know, even though there's a lot of logical reason why the SEC wouldn't want to appeal, technically speaking, the SEC has not spoken yet. And until we hear them come out with a public statement saying they're not going to appeal, technically that's still on the table. So let me know in the comment sections what you guys think is going to happen. I do see here, he must have been responding to something you said, but already XRP1 said just because XRP, he's giving a super chat because of it. Just because XRP won and for the great shows you guys do. Thanks. Absolutely. Thank you for being here and watching and giving that super chat. As a whole, wrapping up the XRP part of the story, I'll go back to what I started this whole thing with. Is this a win for XRP? Yes. Is this a win for Ripple? For the most part, yes. Do I think that XRP has a future with high price action? I do. I'm not an XRP bear. I believe price is going to see a new all-time high by the end of the bull market. That being said, I'm more excited for what this means about other altcoins moving forward than I am about XRP price action. XRP is not going to become my number one holding in crypto. It is going to have a place in my portfolio, but this makes me very excited about the rest of the altcoins that had that fear that potentially they would be accused of security. We now have precedents on the books that if the SEC were to ever go after any single altcoin, you can pull this bad boy out and make it a very short process of a denial. That, to me, is extremely bullish long-term and has major implications on altcoins potentially getting a pump sooner than December. And before we get in that conversation, let's move into the title story of the day. A lot of you probably joined in here saying, what coin are we talking about? I've seen some guesses in the chat about who is about to be listed on Binance. T-Shroom, play the drum roll and announce to us who is being listed.
Tim, it's Toncoin. Toncoin is getting listed there on Binance. This is pretty juicy here. Binance will list Toncoin with seed tag applied. So there you have it. Users can now start depositing Ton in preparation for trading. Withdrawals will open on the 10 UTC. I guess that's tomorrow or today. So very, very bullish there for Ton holders.
No, that's tomorrow. That's tomorrow.
Okay, that'd be tomorrow. Okay. Yeah, so be looking out for that. In my opinion, this is like 90% likely to be bullish. Why? Because there's an expansion of demand, right? There's pent-up demand, potentially only folks that for whatever reason can only use Binance, they want to buy Toncoin. But oftentimes these can be buy the rumor, sell the news events. Tim, do you think that that's what's going to happen here? Do you think Ton's going to go higher because of the categorical expansion of demand? Or do you think that this could potentially slip away from folks who are too bullish here on Toncoin?
Let's cover on two different time frames. If you're talking about what could happen over the next 7 days, volatility will happen. That will include some pumping. That will include some dumping. Where we're at the end of 7 days, I actually think is anybody's guess because I think you're right. Major events like this will allow more exposure to trade, but if there's an overwhelming bullish opinion about it, don't be surprised to see the counteract happen and people try to FUD it by shorting the market. They have a new place to do it. But if you're talking about the next 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, this is very, very bullish because it's just one more place for people to have access to purchase the coin currently ranked number 8 on CoinMarketCap. Go to my screen here, T-Shroom. We don't talk about Toncoin enough. We need to. Is Toncoin going to be a 20 or 30x in this bull market? No, I don't think it's going to do that. While currently it holds a number 8 ranking, there are other coins that I think can pass it, but I think the Toncoin can maintain a top 15 ranking. It is associated with Telegram. It does have a very high speeds of transaction rate, and for those reasons, it's going to stay in high demand. And we just found one more place for you to acquire it. I saw in chat a lot of people hoping it was this other coin called Caspa. Ever heard of it, guys? Caspa and Toncoin, I want to put them in similar categories of why this is so bullish. Even though we're not getting the official news that Caspa is being listed on Binance, it has been a coin that we talked about a month or so ago is getting and picking up momentum to be listed on Binance. But what do Toncoin and Caspa both have in common? Neither coin, despite their amazing success in this bull market, Toncoin being ranked number 8, Caspa being ranked for 22 at the moment, about to crack the top 20. Neither of them are listed on the 2 most popular exchanges, Binance and Coinbase. And while we're not necessarily hearing any rumblings about Coinbase, I still hold to the case that it's only a matter of time before both these coins get put on there. But a listing on Binance, the largest exchange in the world, is going to be a massive pump for price long term because it's just more access to that coin. There are a lot of people, if you couldn't buy Toncoin or Caspa on Binance up to this point, and yet it made it all the way to number 8, Toncoin that is a coin that you should be looking for some form of a position. And anyone who can use Binance is going to get the ability to do just that. Do I think Toncoin is going to do a 20x? No, I don't think so. But if it does maintain, like I just said, at least a top 15 ranking, it should easily, at the end of this bull market, be over $100 billion market cap, debating, possibly making a move closer to or a little above $200 billion in market cap. That means we could be looking at anything between roughly a 6 to potentially high-end 15x in price action. That as good as maybe an investment in Avalanche or Chainlink or I might say it. I'll put it this way. I think Toncoin might potentially rival the same form of gains that Solana has, just being at a much dramatically lesser market cap and not being necessarily as sure of a thing. I think Solana's got a very bright future. But that being said, there's still money to be made in it. And now Binance holders can do that. That is very, very bullish for Toncoin. And once again, even though we haven't discussed it a lot, we need to discuss it a lot more because it's a number 8 coin for a reason. That means it's a bullish project. It's not going to go away overnight. And this news is just one more reason why it's not going to go away overnight. But I agree with everyone in chat. I am excited about Caspa, everybody. If you are looking for a place to get Caspa, a lot of people are struggling. I know a lot of people have run to Uphold, but Uphold has high fees. Uphold is complicated some things for certain people. If you want to get a hold of Caspa right now, guess where I bought Caspa just this last weekend? Over on CoinW. You can buy it spot with very low fees over there. Check out CoinW down below. That is the spot I'm buying it at the moment. With that said, T-Shroom, what are your thoughts as a whole about Toncoin? Is this a coin that has impressed you? Is this something you want to do more research in? Tell me your thoughts.
Yeah, the overall use case to me for Toncoin is not overly bullish. It seems like they've been successful at kind of picking the lock of social media and blockchain, but that's not like the narrative that I'm the most passionate about. I think it can be a winning narrative, though, in 2024 and going into 25. And to me, Tim, I was telling you before we went live, Toncoin feels like the coin that got away, right, for me. Like, it has been in the top 20 for a while, and it kind of just gets swept under the rug, kind of like Una said, Leo. It's just like you see it there. It has commanded a significant market cap, but what does it do, right? We were asking that question quite a bit in the latter half of 2023, and then all of a sudden it just takes off, and it makes clear that it has this association with the app, the social media app Telegram, messaging app. Many people use this internationally. I use it. You use it. A lot of people do. And so I think we just didn't take it seriously as a project, and at least for me, it was the one that got away. And, as an investor, you have to realize that that's going to happen to you and not let that affect your emotions. I don't feel like that's that big of a challenge for me to overcome that, but it may be for you, and that is a big part of investing for sure. The other thing that I wanted to bring up, because it was brought to my attention here by Matt Cash 44, who said Cash getting listed on Kraken. I can confirm now. We saw that yesterday. Now, Kraken, not as big of a platform as Binance, of course, but it is big in the United States. It's on their listing roadmap, so we don't have a date like we do for Toncoin. But as you can see, other blockchains, assets, Toncoin on there as well. But you've got Caspa. So Caspa and ASI and Toncoin and DYDX and a couple others, they're on there. And, there's still not a date, but they're eminently, to be listed there on, I think, in the top 5 American exchanges. So that's my thought. Toncoin, if you've been thinking about buying it, I think it's a good project. It's shown that it can be durable through bull and bear markets. It has a unique narrative, and I think it's honestly kind of dominating the social media blockchain space. Like there's a couple other ones like what's it called, Noster, that are trying to do pretty well, and but you'd buy. You don't. There's not necessarily an immediate coin to buy for that. So if you're really big on social media blockchain, I think Toncoin has emerged to be blue chip. Is it going to? But it's like what you said, Tim. Is it going to be the one that you put 1,000 in and you become a millionaire? No, that's not going to happen more than likely for any of the top 100 altcoins in this bull cycle, in my opinion. Could it happen? I suppose it could. I wouldn't say it is impossible, but we're not really trying to talk about impossibilities, right? We're trying to talk about investing and putting our money really where our mouth is. So that's where I would go with it. Toncoin, bullish. Caspa, right there behind it. And for me, it's the one that got away.
Yeah, I think part of the issue was even though we heard of it, we saw it, we saw the price increasing, it never had the crazy outspoken community you see in other things. Also, some stuff that T-Shirt and I looked before. I want to make sure before I say this, I'm not a Toncoin expert in terms of everything it does fundamentally. But to me, with the brief research I've done, it didn't jump out at me as something that was super special or better than other things in its area, other than that it works with Telegram. And Telegram, obviously a major social media communication account. In fact, I would say I did very little on Telegram up until about 3 or 4 years ago. Now I'm on Telegram probably for hours every single day. That is something that's very big. What I think you also saw was when a coin is quietly going nuts, a lot of times that's because it's being bought up by more serious investors who don't need to go run to social media to tell everybody everything they're buying. I mean, you look at some of these other altcoins like Solana and Cardano and Ethereum, where yes, they've done well in their existence. Yes, they have massive market caps, but it's also a lot of retail investors who have been very loud and outspoken about their support for the coin. Toncoin didn't necessarily have that level of excitement, so it kind of stayed, like you said, off our radar, and it was the coin that we missed out on. Did somebody get potentially massive gains? Let's take a look at the chart here of Toncoin. Again, I don't even have it. I need to save it as one of the coins I'm watching, but let's take a look here. Somebody is going to get crazy gains on Toncoin. If you were somebody listening and talking about it back in the bear market, back here in July of 2022, at the moment you are up, roughly 744%. That's an 8x from where we currently are. If I told you guys that we potentially could see, let's just pretend we get a 10x from here on out. Let's pretend that Toncoin ends up going to roughly $60 per coin, give or take. That would be let's go 10x, actually. That says 9x. Let's go to right at 10x. There we go. That means anyone who bought way back then, they're looking at potentially an 84x, right? So there are people that are going to make a lot of money on Toncoin. As T-Stream suggested, we have missed out. All of us who hadn't invested on it yet, we've missed out on the potential for massive gains. We still could see a 10x, maybe even as high as a 15x, but we're not going to see all of the great success that other people had for it. You can go off my screen. Oh, look at that falling wedge right there that played out pretty beautifully in the price prediction. We have done TA on Toncoin before. That worked out pretty well. Just now we're looking forward to it. You have my screen here, T-Shroom, as I'm kind of wrapping up this point. The point overwhelmingly is, should Toncoin become your number one holding based off this news? No, I'm not saying that. But if you have a little extra room in your portfolio, you've been looking for maybe another good, solid investment, this news does put Toncoin in a list of saying, you know what? Yeah, it's had a great rally so far, but stuff like this can continue that momentum. Yeah. And again, I think it's a safe 5x.
Yeah.
That's a good investment. I think it go even higher, though, closer to 10x.
Eddie PT said it really well here. You must be a front runner, not a back runner. And being a front runner is absolutely my investment style, and to some extent as well, Tim, I think, would agree. is,
Yeah.
if like I was buying the vast majority of my crypto holdings in the bear market, right? That's where you want to buy it. You want to buy low, you want to sell high. Now, have I DCA'd since then? Absolutely. But I've DCA'd into projects more on because I believe in the use case and the actual value of the project and the leaders running it or not running it in the case of Bitcoin. Right. So when it comes to Toncoin, I feel that I characterize it well by saying it's the one that got away. Is it valuable? Absolutely. It's going to be good.
Yeah.
I wish that I had bought more in the bear or some in the bear market, but I didn't. And I have to be okay with that, and I absolutely am. Why? Because I know that the investments that I've made are going to do well. So, I have coins in my portfolio that people who bought Toncoin didn't buy, right? And so they're going to be jelly of mine. I'm not going to be jelly of anybody's. I'm going to be appreciative and grateful for what I do have, and continue and maybe ask myself the question, how what allowed you to miss Toncoin? But to be honest with you, I'm just not sweating it. We're only talking about it today because it's getting a listing on Binance. So
I want to address someone in chat. So Crypto Stevo, I know I see you in here from time to time. Crypto Stevo, I've known him now for over a year. You actually got to know him quite well. Crypto Steven and I do not agree on everything, but I heavily respect what he says. But I want to repeat what he's saying, kind of specify this for anyone.
Sure.
He says a whole 5x. Haha. Here's the thing. Crypto Stevo is right. A whole 5x. There are so many other coins out there that are going to do so much greater returns than a 5x if they play their full potential. As I've gotten to know Crypto Stevo, he is great at picking products, or kind of what we're talking about here, front running. And I don't think even he would say every single pick he's ever made is perfect. But he's somebody I would heavily recommend that you guys follow on X. I think his tag is the same way. But I want to make sure people understand Crypto Stevo is coming at it from a place where he's experienced. He's been in the game for a long time. He can pick the safe, or I'm not going to say safe. He can pick the 30Xs, 50Xs. It's a great skill set. And as you guys learn and grow more in crypto, you get to be that level. Why am I talking heavily and suggesting people look to invest in a coin that is a safe 5x? Because not everyone is a great G-Gen picker like people like Crypto Steve or other people like Crux, obviously one of the bros. He's great at doing this kind of stuff. Some people need to be able to have some form of investment that they put their hard-earned money in. They do very limited research. They walk away for a period of time and come back to a safe gain. Anyone investing in Bitcoin, if you're expecting a 20x in your Bitcoin investment this year, I hate to break it to you, that's not happening. Anyone investing in even, I say, Ethereum, I think it'd be very good if Ethereum made a 10x. It's not going to make a 20x this bull market. I'd even say, again, this is one of the coins Stevo has been really big on for a long time. And he got in on early levels that he's going to see maybe a 40, 50, 60x on it. But if you invested in Solana right now, I don't think you're going to see a 20x. I think it's going to be very good if we saw like a 10x on there. There are so many other coins with greater possibilities. But especially for any of our listeners, let's say you come in here and you have $300,000 to invest into crypto. These are obviously, bigger investors here. But I tell people all the time, if you have low money to invest and a low level of experience, you want to choose the safer picks like the Bitcoins and the Ethereums and the Solanas and the Toncoins. That's what you should be prioritizing. If you only had like $5,000, but your goal was to try to turn that 5,000, let's say, into 100,000, you're not going to do that with these larger safe coins. Those are the types of accounts that need to take bigger risks and go after the coins with higher potential. They also have the higher risk and could end up not being as big a gains as those safe ones. But the potential is what you're chasing. So the same thing here. I want to make sure people are encouraged. If you want to be a degen, if you want to turn $5,000 into $100,000, Toncoin might not be the coin for you. But if you're here because you just want to see your money 2x, 3x, 4x, maybe you have a lot of it and you want to make sure you manage that risk to reward ratio very well, I think Toncoin is a very good investment for you because it has lower risk, lower rewards, but lower risk, and is still a good investment if you're looking to 5 to 10x your money. That's what you should expect with a Toncoin investment.
Yeah, absolutely. And who knows? There could be some unique DApp that only can exist on Toncoin because of the social media aspect and the high adoption rate there for Toncoin, and it could do something really, really explosive, right? But that's not something you'd want to count on. And if you're reading, websites and you're reading, hearing other YouTubers that are saying that Toncoin is going to outperform what Tim just said, you may want to check yourself, right? You may want to check out the legitimacy of their claims there. Well, Tim, we've got another pretty chunky story here because J.P. Morgan put out some information here, and I think we should go ahead and do it. We have about 20 minutes left. What do you want to do? Want to jump into the factoid and then go questions, or do you want to tackle this report?
Yeah, I want to tackle that real quickly, addressing on, because a lot of this has come up in the chat here a little bit. Notcoin. I don't want to tell people not to invest in Notcoin. I see Crux of Crypto even saying I do have some Notcoin right there. Obviously, there's a connection, a relationship between Toncoin and Notcoin. That alone doesn't mean it's going to be a good investment. The chart on Notcoin is extremely volatile, but it's been pretty balanced since its creation, meaning it's not overwhelmingly bullish, not overwhelmingly bearish. Is there potential for Notcoin to be huge? Absolutely. There's also a chance that it ends up flopping on its face. That goes right back to what I just talked about. If you are an investor looking for safe returns, Notcoin might not be the coin for you. Toncoin is. But maybe a little more aggressive and you don't want just a 5X, maybe you want to play the route of Notcoin, because I think there will be a small tie to the relationship there that if Toncoin does well, you should see Notcoin probably outgain it, but it is a lot riskier of a play. So what is my overall take on Notcoin? I'm not overwhelmingly bullish or bearish because I'm just not going to I'm not going to lie to you and tell you that I've done a bunch of research on it. I have not. I just do know that it has a relationship with Toncoin, and there's a chance that it ends up being tied somewhat to it and moves in similar matters. But because its market cap is so drastically lower, the gains that you would make in an investment hypothetically would be higher if it does match Toncoin price for price. That being said, though, not a guarantee that happens. So do know if you invest in Notcoin, you are investing into a high risk, but also high reward coin.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. We have to understand ourselves within the context in which we live. We didn't just fall from a coconut tree. So let's go ahead and jump on into the J.P. Morgan research here. We're having fun. So this is from Matthew Siegel, recovering CFA. We're actually, bringing you his content more and more. This is a good summary, I feel, of the J.P. Morgan research. Let's get into it. One can find several reasons for institutional investors to remain optimistic. And Tim and I have said a couple of times, this is the bull market for the institutions. So we want to pay attention to what they're saying, not necessarily believe it, right? But we want to know what they're saying and continue to
ask
analyze
the why. Yeah, you listen to what they say and then you ask why. That's how you decide what to do with it.
Exactly. So what are they saying? These are the reasons for institutions to remain optimistic on Bitcoin despite the volatility. Morgan Stanley has recently allowed its wealth advisors to recommend spot Bitcoin ETF to their clients. By recently, that was yesterday, was when that went live. The bulk of liquidations of in-kind crypto payments from Mt. Gox and Genesis bankruptcies are likely behind us. Very bullish. The cash payments from FTX bankruptcy towards the end of the year may propel further demand in the crypto market. That's one probably to chew on a little more. That's kind of a fresh narrative coming into the space. And then number 4, both parties in the U.S. election point to favorable crypto regulations. That one I would say is a little bit debatable, but at the end of the day, the two parties have realized that the crypto contingent is actually significant, and it's not one to be ignored. You want the crypto vote. At this point, both political parties have shown that they were willing to fight for it, one definitely harder than the other. And then here, we believe that the above positive catalysts are largely factored in, with limited de-risking in the CME Bitcoin futures space and with equity markets still looking vulnerable as mentioned in the section above, we recommend caution on crypto market despite the recent correction. So to be honest with you, Tim, this is a report where it seems like it's just stripped down to the facts. There's not a lot of FUD or FOMO or fluff in my opinion, but what's your read on this?
Yeah, I think the biggest one I want to chew on, can you pull it back up because I want to read through it? Because there's a couple points that I absolutely agree with. Scroll back up here to the point systems on there. So let's go. Number 1, Morgan Stanley has recently allowed its wealth advisors to recommend spot Bitcoin ETFs to the clients. That's not an opinion. That's a factual. They are doing that. They've been reporting that. That is not a what they're saying. That is a what are they doing. Mm-hmm. That's a plus. That's a bullish thing. The bulk of the liquidations of in-kind crypto payments from Mt. Gox and Genesis bankruptcies are likely behind us. That is an opinion right there. But it's an opinion that I share. And I kind of pointed at this whole time. I thought that the Mt. Gox and Genesis bankruptcies and the recent bearish news that has come out speculating that everyone who receives their funds would sell, I always saw that as a illogical, bearish-looking move to try to scare newer investors out of their holdings. But ultimately, it's one of those things. Even the Mt. Gox people, the Mt. Gox people from a long, long time ago. I was going to move on to the next point, but the Mt. Gox people from over 10 years ago, they invested in crypto so early. They were the early adopters. Do we honestly think the majority of those people that invested 10 years ago have watched what crypto has done in the last 10 years and said, yeah, this crypto is a scam?
Right.
I don't think that that's their thought whatsoever. I think that a lot of those people were very bummed about losing all that money 10 years ago, but just said, you know what? It is what it is. Let me go find some other cash to buy into this great asset. Right. Now you're telling them, oh, guess what? We're going to pay you back. Not as much as you lost, but we're going to pay you some back. That's just an easy DCA for them to continue to add to their bags. I don't see that as bearish whatsoever. When it goes to the next point about FTX, this is newer, definitely something we have to chew on. I know that this was a major FUD attack on Solana here more recently, and I'm not buying it whatsoever. The concept out there is that FTX is going to start paying their people back, but FTX owns, I think the number thrown out there, and I don't know if this is the right number or not, but I thought I heard someone say 8% of Solana is still owned by FTX. They're going to have to sell all that Solana to pay stuff off. Well, let's start off by saying, let's just pretend they did sell all of it. Somebody else is going to buy that back up. Could it be a temporary dip in price action? A temporary dip? Yes, absolutely. Let's think about the concept of what happened like with Germany and others. But there's not a guarantee that they're going to sell all of that. In fact, it doesn't make sense for them to sell all of it right now. It would actually make more sense for them to hold on it until we get a little later towards the end of the bull market and then take profit on it and do some stuff with it. So my initial thought there is I think that even that story that's kind of saying this shouldn't be as big of a deal as people think, I agree with that statement. I think that is another major FUD story thrown out to scare newer investors or weak-handed investors to sell their Solana. Why? Because larger holders and whales who believe in its future want to buy a dip. And that's ultimately the only reason for that story. So even though you always have to read these things with a fine-tooth comb and ask yourself why, I find myself not finding any of those points to be fishy. I actually agree with them, and they fit the narrative that we talked about in being anti-manipulation in the space and calling out the manipulation for what it is. This all, to me, stands to be truthful and bullish, in my opinion.
Yep. And I would say it is manipulation, but it's manipulation to the upside. I think Wall Street, on the equities and the crypto side, have kind of gotten their fill. Their buddies are going to be able to get the opportunity to, the boat has been brought back. They're going to have the opportunity to buy low at these prices. My read on the market, which I can be wrong, is that we have seen the worst of it. That doesn't mean we're going to shoot back to the upside immediately, right? But I do think that from here, you likely have had the best opportunities to buy crypto for the rest of the year in the past, not in the future. So we'll see. We'll see what ends up happening, but it definitely seems like Morgan Stanley's bullish, allowing their clients, to buy, and even recommending is the word that's used here. But it definitely seems like J.P. Morgan's saying, hey, or somebody within the bank, which it's a big bank, is saying, hey, it's time to put the gas on these prices and see them go back up. So that's my read on it. Could be wrong, right? And they could be wrong. They could be completely wrong. And then there also could be the possibility that all of us don't know about some event that's right around the corner. After all, it is an election year here in these United States. Speaking of which, we can get to the factoid pretty quickly here.
Before we do the factoid, I'm going to be very brief with this T-shirt because, again, we have like 12 more minutes here. We want to do some Q&A with you guys.
The show.
I referenced this question earlier. I think it's good before we wrap up this whole conversation because we're talking very bullishly about altcoins. But the question a lot of people are asking, and we put in the title there, obviously, is the altcoin season going to come sooner than later? What do I mean by that? Is if the 4-year cycle maintains its 4-year cycle, meaning the pattern plays out that way, alt season really should not come until December. We've been preparing and telling you guys, do not expect the absolute ridiculous gains in your altcoins until December. Or better yet, are you excited about how altcoins have moved in the last 6 to 12 months? Guess what's going to happen in December? It's going to get even better. That being said, there's a lot of catalysts coming in that are different than cycles past that are implying that alts could make a run a little sooner, maybe even around that election season period, a little bit before November. The point I want to make here is the answer to that question, could it happen, is yes, it could. The possibility of altcoins running sooner is on the table. And that's why you need to be vigilant. You need to continue to watch daily content like the Investing Bros. You need to continue to research news for yourself, watch the charts, be ready for anything. But I'll tell you what to look at. If there was one thing to pay attention to dictate whether altcoin season was coming sooner or later, it's this chart right here on my screen, and that is the Bitcoin dominance chart. Are altcoins bullish today? Absolutely. Guess what else is bullish today? Bitcoin. We've hit a new high once again today for this cycle, with the Bitcoin dominance being at 57.44%. We've been talking about a move up to 60% dominance this entire bull cycle. I've been laughed at, I've been ridiculed, but there's not as many people laughing at that prediction now. Why is this important? Because even though altcoins can run, Bitcoin can run, dominance is going to reach a peak. I don't know. My screen froze, T-Shroom. I don't know what's happening.
You're good now. There was a little blip there, but we're ready.
Okay. All right, let's go back to it. Just like 4 years ago, in January of 2021, Bitcoin and altcoins were climbing the whole time between September and January. But something flipped a switch in January, and you see the Bitcoin dominance fall off a cliff. It went from being above 73%, falling in a couple of months all the way down to 39%. Well, that didn't mean that Bitcoin fell off a cliff. It just means altcoins went parabolic. Same thing is going to happen in this cycle. What I'm watching for is reasons to no longer think that Bitcoin dominance is going to climb. And while on the daily chart, you're seeing us in a take profit zone, we're far way away from resistance. The weekly chart is what I'm watching right now. That absolutely is saying we're under a buy signal right now. We have a lot of room to the upside, to 60%, maybe even a little higher. When you start to see a lot of resistance and bearish activity on this chart, that will be your key. That even though Bitcoin's still a solid investment, that's when altcoins are going to go nuts. I still am going to hold out and say at this point, I'm predicting, but I'm very open to having that time period come sooner rather than later. We have to continue to watch this chart. We have to continue to watch the news. We have to continue to watch how altcoins are being treated by institutions. That will all dictate when alt season comes. What is the big takeaway, though? Even though it's not alt season yet, don't wait until December to be loading up on altcoins. This is still a very good opportunity to be loading your bags to the best of your ability to prepare yourself for a very bullish bull market of 2025. Let's go ahead. Real quick, we have a super chat here. Do you think the Chang hard fork make ADA bullish? I do. I do think ADA is going to be bullish. Ultimately, I said this yesterday. I still hold Cardano. I still like Cardano. Not everyone in chat's going to agree with that. Is it a top 5 hold, though? As much as I like Cardano and I'm bullish on it long term, anyone who thinks that Cardano is going to mimic 2021 and see upwards of like 13,000% gains, that's not going to happen. I think Cardano hits new all-time highs. I think Cardano goes somewhere between $5 to $7 by the time this whole thing's over again. But you got to understand, that's not matching what happened in 2021. Cardano is not in this bull market going to recapture a top 3 ranking in CoinMarketCap. I honestly think it's going to be very lucky to stay within the top 10 the entire time. That is the truth. That doesn't mean it's not bullish. That doesn't mean the price won't go up. And that doesn't mean for a long-term plan that Cardano is going to fail. I think Cardano is still going to be here in 20 years. It just isn't. This bull market isn't the bull market for Cardano. Crypto is still young and new. Give everything time to sort out where they are. But there are things that Cardano does that I believe they do it better than any other platform. And that's a recipe for long-term success, even if 2025 isn't this best year. But again, still bullish on that one. That being said, T-Shirt, let's go ahead and go into our factoid of the day, and then we'll jump into more Q&A.
Absolutely. Well, bros, our factoid of the day is brought to you all by CoinW. We talked about how Toncoin and Caspa can be purchased on CoinW spot. Definitely go ahead and check them out. Our link is in the description for the CoinW exchange. It looks a little something like this right below the video you are watching now. Tim, which company acquired Whole Foods for $13.7 billion in August of 2017? Was it A?
I know the know the answer,
Kroger.
but I want you to do them. Yeah.
B, Starbucks. C,
Bunk.
Amazon. Or D, Aldi. Give the folks a little bit of time to answer. Sounds like you think you know the answer, so let's just give them a second here. But this is a good factoid of the day. Tim, go ahead. Tell us what you think the answer is.
Yeah, everyone commenting in chat is right. It's Amazon. And the only reason why I know the answer to that, because I don't shop at Whole Foods, but the only reason I know that is because when I lived in Gainesville and had to from time to time, I have a wife who loves Amazon. She purchases arguably way too much off of Amazon. And sometimes she purchases so much, we have to do returns. Well, one of the few places in Gainesville you can do Amazon returns was Whole Foods because Amazon ended up buying them out. So there was an exclusive partnership. I know there was also things that's like if you owned Amazon Prime, you got discounts at Whole Foods. So it is C, Amazon. Everyone in chat is getting that one correct.
Well, everybody except BJ. BJ says Aldi. So we'll see. Can BJ defy the odds?
BJ. Love you, BJ. You're not going to win this one.
It is Amazon there for the win. Tim, how does it feel to be a winner? There you go. Amazon acquired Whole Foods in 2017. On the official, for anybody who's questioning, this is on the official Amazon Wikipedia page. And Wikipedia never lies. Right, Tim?
Stupid thing in chat is saying you can't afford Whole Foods. I'm going to be very honest with you guys. You're absolutely right. And when I'm a multimillionaire, I'm still not going to be able to afford Whole Foods because there's a lot better things to do with the money. There's actually better places to get that high level of quality food. If you guys shop at Whole Foods, no disrespect to you, I see Whole Foods as a whole marketing ploy.
Oh gosh,
it's kind of like designer clothing. It's really not better clothing than other places.
BJ,
it's just marketed as being special.
BJ said he meant Amazon. I'm sure.
Oh, okay, BJ, you're good. You're good. If you meant it, that's
hindsight.
I sometimes
right?
misspell Amazon as ALDI as well.
Right.
So that's
it happens to the best
mistake.
of us.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Tim, what are some questions that you're seeing down there? I'm going to go ahead and give us a little rundown of what's happening in the U.S. equities here as we're ending out the session.
Bullish, yeah.
It looks
the
like
stock market's up.
Yeah, Google's recovering nicely. Look at the gap here on Amazon. It's got some ground to make up if you're looking for a nice underpriced tech company. Amazon might be your guy there. Tesla after this pullback, looking like it could be slowing down, finding a bottom there. Let's look at the indexes here as well. Let's look at the Nike. So this is the Japanese stock exchange, looking like its recovery is continuing. Its candlestick look like it's going to print higher than yesterday, which is categorically bullish. MACD is recovering there quite nicely. But let's look at the Qs. Let's give those Qs a peek.
Those Qs.
They're doing okay. You know, the recovery's continuing here. Had a red close yesterday on the 7th of August. S&P looking pretty much the same. Tim, you see any juicy questions there to cover?
David Middleton saying, why doesn't anyone mention we filled that futures gap? I think we may see a correction again. If you're talking about Bitcoin, David, you are mistaken. Bitcoin has a futures gap all the way to 63,000. If you're talking about something else, you'd have to specify what it is. I see an overwhelming amount of comments, T-Shroom, asking for Chainlink TA.
Well,
I want to start off by telling you guys, if you were one of our VIP traders, meaning if you bought Lux Algo through our link, or if you're one of our Pro Bros members, you guys would have benefited this morning when I was doing some TA on Chainlink. This is what we tell you guys is we try to do as much TA in the live shows as we can, and hopefully you guys learn a lot from them. But so much more is done in our membership options. If you want to trade with our group, if you want to see my technical analysis on a daily level and get to ask me questions and get my feedback, you got to get into VIP trading. Check out the links down below, Lux Algo or the BroLux memberships. That is your key. This morning, for all of our VIP members, you guys can back me up on this. I didn't just draw this right now. I told everybody, look for the high move, a price rally all the way to $10.45 if we were to pull back. Now, this is going to change on us now, but I said look for a pullback if we pull back down to 967. Ultimately, we ended up moving to the upside almost exactly to the cent of what we predicted this morning in our VIP group. What we're looking at right now is there is an order block at the moment from price level a couple of days ago. That means there will be some selling happening here on the 1 hour chart. You're also going to see that this is where our take profit from a buy order came in. We're seeing this rise in the bullish Smart Trail, which is very, very good. Let me get rid of these price targets because now they are not what we need to see. Is reversal coming in? It looks like we are. Even though the money flow never flipped green, it was positive earlier today. But right now we're looking at a reversal. We're seeing a bearish momentum dot, and it does look like the money flow, if I zoomed in there, is looking like it's leaking a little bit down to the downside. What does this mean? As I'm looking at RSI being above the 50, I'm looking at the MACD be above the 0. It means a pullback is in order, but I think we're going to see a higher low. Do not be surprised to see this Smart Trail on the 1 hour chart retested, sitting somewhere south of $10 once again, but on our way to setting higher lows and higher highs in a bullish trend. On the 4 hour chart, longer term, meaning the next couple of days, I think we could still make a rally back up to the top of the Smart Trail. So even if we have a small pullback down towards $10 or a little bit below, I still think we're looking at making a move as the Smart Trail continue to rise and our take profit is sitting up here matched with some bearish breaker blocks. I think we could get back above 11, start pushing towards $12 once again. Does that mean that the bull market is back on for Chainlink and you don't have to worry about any further drops? No, it doesn't, guys. We got a long way to go before we recapture bullish sentiment. In fact, about $13, a little bit over $13. Let's just go ahead and, for kicks and giggles, let's call it 14 to make sure we're safe. We will not be bullish again on Chainlink until $13.50 to $14 is recaptured by Chainlink. Am I telling you I think that we won't get there? No, I think there's a very good chance over the next couple of weeks we make a move. I told you before, and I'm not backing down from it. I think when it's all said and done, August, despite the large fall to start the month off, will be a more bullish month than a bearish month that'll start the ball rolling for a bull market into the fall. That being said, I do have to see these things confirmed before I can make massive investment or trading decisions based off of it. So for now, I remain cautiously optimistic on Chainlink. I do think the next couple of days will be volatile. We can make a move back up to $12, but $13.50 to $14, that's my level. Before you hear me start screaming, guys, this is it. We're about to go nuts on Chainlink. I got to see us get back above that level. Guess what's going to happen when that happens? We also are going to be revisiting some nice resistance of a former falling wedge pattern. This could be a catapult for when that level is broken to send us even higher, back up not only to the highs of March earlier this year, but going even higher on Chainlink. Yes, the price has been downwards and it's not been confident bullish moves on Chainlink. That doesn't take away from the fundamentals, doesn't take away from who is purchasing and who is using Chainlink. You guys can continue to laugh at me. Anyone who says Tim is way too bullish on Chainlink, that's completely fine. You can say that. Let's talk again next year and see what happens. Remember that special rally that Cardano made in 2021? Would not be surprised if Chainlink is the one that has a similar type of story and move. We'll come back next year and talk more about that later. Guys, it's 4:02. Time for us to wrap up today. Tonight, I will be doing, for all of our VIP members I just mentioned, we're going to be going into an old classic that I do reference from time to time, but people have asked me before, Tim, if you could only trade with a couple of free indicators, 3 to be exact, what would they be? Well, I'm not going to tell you the other 2 because I've talked about those before, but one of the largest indicators that I would use for trading with free TradingView would be the RSI and reading divergences. Tonight in our VIP trading group at 4:45, we're going to be diving into how to read divergence on oscillators. You don't want to miss it if you're a VIP member. Anyone who does miss it, there will be a recording of it. You can obviously watch it back later. Don't miss out on it. The rest of you, go check out my morning video about XRP and what that means for the future. The rest of you will see you tomorrow. You guys have a great night. Adios.
Trying to make paper, turn that better to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots that bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros. Army pipe, lethal on trade. Entries and exits, worthy of praise. Tim, the professor, the TA. Shout it out loud on the PA. T-Shrooms news, got the word. Doing better than what he deserves. Beamer, leave no evidence. Soon fly coop with his dividend. Trying to make paper, turn that better to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots that bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros.